Well, if you take it at its barest level, what happens at a closing is that there is payment that is made, and if it's been made prior, it's being held in escrow, or it should be held in escrow either by a real estate company, a title company, or an attorney, and have that in their escrow, which they have certain legal obligations to keep that money separated from any kind of operating or spending account. So there is going to be an exchange of money, and then there's going to be an exchange of ownership of the property, which is done via a deed. And sometimes deeds are held in escrow too. In other words, the seller will execute the deed prior to receiving the money and provide it to the attorney or the title company. And that deed is held in escrow and will not be recorded. And in Florida, it's a recording state, so the deeds really don't take legal effect unless they're recorded. There are certain exceptions that can be argued on that, but typically it has to be recorded to be valid. And so then the closing agent then has to hold that in escrow until they are certain that the funds are there and they've cleared and can be distributed. The other things that happen at the closing is that you have the HUD statement on residential, and a lot of times HUD statements are used in commercial as well, even though they're not required like they are in residential. But basically it has a breakdown of what the costs are for the seller, what the costs are for the buyer. It has what the costs are for releasing any kinds of liens or encumbrances. And then you have a bottom line for both the buyer, for what the purchaser has to pay, and for the proceeds that are going to the seller. And then the difference is the dollar amounts that get paid to the real estate agent, the attorney fee, the recording fees for the clerks, payoffs of any mortgages, taxes, any other liens or encumbrances, HOA, condo association fees. At the closing, you have to make sure that those have all been taken care of too. You certainly can't get title insurance unless you have taken care of those items and made sure that those are going to be paid off, and you have money that has been accounted for and set aside from the monies that the buyer has provided to purchase to pay off those items. Or if the seller has agreed to pay, that those go on the seller's line item and that they don't get as much money for the sale of the property as they would have, because they're obligated to pay for a certain encumbrance to be released. So basically, it's a transfer of money, it's a transfer of ownership, and then it's also to a basic final check and analysis that all encumbrances have been taken care of, so there can be clean title that is transferred to the owner, and that's typically how a closing works.